Hi everyone! Today I'm gonna be stitching this petal with you, and I'm gonna use advanced long and short shading technique, so you will learn something more. It's not necessary that you will stitch this flower the same way like I did, but you can at least try using my tutorial. Try something new, something advanced, something that you didn't do before. I'm gonna use 4 colors of pink. You can see all of them right here. For the last flower we use only 2 colors, and as you can see it's a pretty nice result. It can be also enough for this flower as well, but if you want to go to learn something new, to do something advanced, so I would encourage you to try add more colors so that you will get some result like you see right here. So I'm using Anchor embroidery threads, and they comes in the bobbins, and here are the colors I used. But if you like DMC threads, you can go ahead and try some DMC colors. Let's see the chart, and I will explain a little bit how you can choose the colors. You can go with some colors from the color family. They all go in the same section, so those colors match each other and they will look nice. You can skip some colors, you can skip this one and add a darker one, or you can go with light colors if you stitch if you also stitch on the dark purple fabric like I do. And you can go with this set of colors as well. You can also go with this and this color. You can use only 3 colors. So just choose whatever you like. See, all those colors also goes together very well, and those 3 colors. And if you want to make this kind of flower, you can go with this color set. It will look nice if you stitch on different fabric color, because you can see it's the same color and it can be lost in the fabric. So see what you have. And stitch with whatever threads you have. You just need 3 or 4 colors which are in the same color family. And I will start from the lightest color. I will go with 2 strands of floss. Somebody told me that he was using 3 strands of DMC for the previous flower, and it looked much thicker than they saw in my video. It's true, because Anchor embroidery threads, which comes in spools, they are winded tight in the spool, and that's why they may look thinner than DMC threads. So if 3 strands of floss for this flower was too much for you, you can switch to 2 strands and it will look nice. Okay, let's zoom it and start stitching. You can ask me questions in the chat, or if you are watching this video recorded video on YouTube, you can also ask me questions in the comments below. I will be happy to answer all your questions. I start from 2 strands of floss, and I threaded my needle with 2 strands right away, and I made a loop. So I had initially under one strand of floss, I put the ends together, I threaded those ends through this needle, and I got this loop. So I can start stitching with this loop, and this is also a nice way to start stitching without any knots. You can start from the front, you can start from the bottom. For the sake of this tutorial, I will start from the front, so you will see how it works. So I'm doing split stitches, and I will go through this loop and I make my first stitch. I can go through the same hole, so I flip this loop to the back side, and it's not gonna be visible from the front. So I do outline first because I like when my edges of the petals look sharp, and I will also continue stitching this petal with the same 2 strands of floss. If you are new here, this is Stitching Along, and you can join when you like, because all those videos will be recorded and saved on YouTube. And there is a link in the video description where you can get this pattern and stitch it with me. I'm making a nice gift for my mom. I will place our photo in this floral photo frame, and it's gonna be a nice gift for her birthday. You actually don't need to stitch entire petal, like outline entire petal, because of the stitches direction. They will go from here to here, and outline only needs in the places where your stitches will be like perpendicular to the edge of the flower. I will make an illustration for this flower to show the stitches direction for all the petals. Right now I will show the stitches direction for this petal, and they will go in this way. All the stitches should point to the flower center, and this way it will look naturally. And I will use as I will use 4 colors. You can also mark the edges for your colors. So the first row will be on the top, it's gonna be the lightest color. Then the next color will go, and this is the area for this color, and then there is gonna be one more color, and it's gonna be right here. So right now I will continue stitching with the same 2 strands of floss that I used for outline, and I start from the central stitch, and I can also make long stitches just to mark stitches direction for myself, and then I will fill all the spaces between those stitches. And on the edge of the petal I go outside of the outline. I'm not splitting this outline, I just go very close to it and outside of it. So this outline will be hidden under my stitches. It just needed for making a sharp edge for this petal. So now you can go between all those stitches and fill all the rest space that you have. And you need to make long and short stitches. You need to make it randomly. And you don't need to have a sharp edge right here in this area, because we need to mix the colors. They should be blended between each other, so no sharp edges for the colors inside the petals. And I don't go far away deep inside the petal with this first color, because I know that there are going to be more colors here. Did you guys ever tried long and short shading for your projects? Or you prefer just a regular satin stitch? Today I will share with you all the tips I know about long and short shading. So the first tip is the reason why I will use only one strand of floss for color blending. Right now I use 2 strands because it's gonna be faster to fill the first row. So you can use 2 strands here. But later I will switch to 1 strand of floss when I will start blending colors and I switch to the next color. The thinner the thread, the smoother the transition between colors and the glossier the surface you can get. So that's why I prefer to use only 1 strand of floss for long and short shading. And also the big role in this shading technique is stitches direction. So that's why I showed you how you can mark your stitches directions from the very beginning, so it will guide you during the entire process. Okay, I will start a new thread. I will park my thread here for later. I will be finishing it later, so I pick only 1 strand of floss and I put the ends together and it creates a loop. And I also use the smallest needle in my embroidery needle set. If you have this kind of embroidery needles, for long and short shading, you might want to use the smallest needle from the set. Like on the left or on the right, this is the right needle. You can even find the smaller needle than this. This needle size is number 9. You can find number 10, and it's gonna be even better. I like this method very much because I can start right from the top side. I don't need to flip my hoop to the back side. Try to not tight your stitches too much because it can be puckering your fabric, and you should also have your fabric stretched in the hoop very tight. And also you don't want to tighten it too much because you don't want this shape to be distorted. But I can already see that it's a little bit distorted, so I hope I will be able to fix it later when I will be shaping the frame for the photo right here. It can be hard to stay in line with your directions, but it's very important. You can imagine if it's curved like right here. I will see if we will have some time to stitch that next petal today, or if we will not have time, we can stitch it probably later in one more live stream, or I can record it as a video and post it separately so you could see how I did it. Let me know which way is gonna be the best for you guys. Okay then, so it's gonna be a next video, this curved petal shape. Because it was even a little bit challenging for me. It's much easier to stitch the petal positioned like this, just flat, like on the in front of you, but if it's curved or something like this, or this, it can be a little bit challenging. So okay, I will show it on my next video then. Okay, so this was the last stitch for this color, for this petal, and I'm switching to another color. This is going to be the next color. See, it's slightly darker. You don't want your next color to be very different from the previous one. And I'm gonna use only one strand of floss. Starting my thread without knots. I just do a running stitch and I split my previous stitch. See, you can do it even if you use only one strand of floss. You can also do a small random stitches in different directions to make your thread fixed on the place like this. See, like a seed stitch. And now you can continue stitching. So I come up in the middle of my previous stitched area. I go really close to the edge because I want to make longer stitches and I want to mix this color with the previous one. And it's very important that you follow the same stitches direction like you did for your previous row. Keep following the stitches directions that you marked for yourself, and I make long stitches. You can see that there is some distance between those stitches. And this is my favorite way to blend the colors. I don't make my stitches too long because I know that there will be 2 more colors for this petal, so I just don't go out of the area that I marked for myself for each color as well. I like to stitch from the top to the bottom, the way I can lay down my thread like this. So I make sure that I follow the same stitches direction and I don't make like cross stitches like this. If you will go like this or like this, it's gonna be visible and it's not gonna create a smooth transition that you want. And now I fill all the rest area that I have this petal, and I do short stitches. And when I come up here, I go sometimes between the stitches, and sometimes I'm splitting my previous stitches. It doesn't really matter how you come up, it will mix the colors very well. Come up, so I can accidentally split it, and it's also fine. You don't need necessarily to go in the place where your previous stitches ended. You just need to go between the stitches or splitting them. Stitching with one strand of floss can take a lot of time, so you need to be patient, and you just need to know it, that you will do a lot of stitches, but I think the final result is worth it. Let me zoom it a little bit closer, so maybe you will see more details what I do. The colors are really close. You may not see all the difference through the camera on this video, but I hope you can see where my stitches go. Yeah, it can take me a few days to complete this flower because it's a lot of work, a lot of patience, and it can take some time. So I will be probably continuing stitching it tomorrow. After this petal, I will go and finish all the rest petals, and only one petal will be left. So I will stitch it with you, this curved shaped petal right here. So see, you don't need to start your next color of the new layer in the same place where the stitches are from the upper level layer, like, you know, in the same hole. I go really far from where it ends, and it helps me to blend those two colors much better. I'm starting my thread in this place because I know that it will be covered by my future stitches. All this entire petal will be covered later, so I don't worry that it's gonna be visible. Somehow it's gonna be hidden under my stitches, and if you will look on the back side, you will not see any knots. And your work will be clear, and you can go with this method if you are stitching on some clothing that you will be washing and you will be wearing it. So the back side, it will be a very pleasant for your skin. But if you will be using a metallic threads, it can be not very pleasant, truth be told. See my petals right here. It gives using more than 2 colors, using 3 or 4 colors, it gives you 3D appearance. And the more close colors you use, the better blend of colors you will get. And it's gonna be visually very smooth. And look natural. You can also blend different colors, like pink with blue and orange with red, or yellow, or yellow with green. If you use this technique, your colors will be going into other color very smoothly. I know it can be difficult, but it's worth trying. If you feel not confident with this flower and you're afraid that you will mess it up, you can transfer this specific flower, just this one element, to some other piece of fabric and practice there. And then when you see that it's turning well, you can go with this for the bigger project and stitch it right here. Right now I finished the second color, and I'm switching to the next one. And the next color will be this number. This is Anchor, and you just use your colors from your color family. Later I will take a look on the color map and let you know the DMC colors which will be going well together. I will give you a few versions of palettes for pink flower like this. and you can see already that thanks to this method you can make your petals look like a separate objects because they have shadows, and it really helps to separate them from each other, so you don't need any outline. Sorry. My thread is running away from me. Okay, I start again and next color, and I go, see where I go? Almost when this next color is finished, a little bit lower than the previous one, but see where I go. I go very deep into the previous color. And I use the same method. It's actually a simple method because there are more complicated cases with flowers, but this one is very simple and you should definitely try it to learn this technique. And you can use it for any kind of flowers or leaves. And with this anchor thread, I can do color blending even smoother thanks to the thinnest. Thanks to that this thread is very thin. Добрий ранок. Якщо ви з України, то, мабуть, у вас уже вечір. У нас тут тільки день починається. And I do the same, I just go between the stitches and fill the space that I have between them. I come up a little bit lower than I did for the first row of longer stitches. See, right here, I go lower and lower and lower for all my next stitches right here. It's like when you are drawing, but you are drawing with threads. If you were ever drawing with colored pencils and you did layering, this is almost the same thing, but it takes more time and it's threads and not pencils. And with this color you're feeling most of the space left for this petal, but you still need to leave some space for the next color on the bottom. And my longest stitches are not bigger than half of the inch. It's like 1 centimeter long and not longer. And when I was stitching the bird, my stitches was even shorter because I was stitching the fur and I wanted to make the belly of my bird fluffy, like I wanted to make it look realistic. Stitching the bird is more complicated process, but it needs practice. I would recommend you to practice on some botanical elements first. Try to stitch flowers, leaves, using this method, and then you can try to stitch some embroidery bird. I already have a lot of video tutorials about stitching birds. If you are interested, you can join my Patreon. There are about 8 video tutorials about bluebird. And you can also get a pattern on Patreon and start stitching even today. So I finished my next color. I see that on this side I need to make probably 1 stitch to make the shape of this petal better. Yeah, this way is better. So I'm switching right now to the darkest color. This is the color of my thread. It is Anchor threads. Oops. This is the color. So I thread my needle. This is going to be the last color for this petal. You can go backwards. You can, if you stitch on a lighter fabric, you can go from the darkest color first and move to the center and make it lighter. It depends which kind of flower do you stitch. You may need to look at the reference and try to get the right colors for your reference. This flower I stitch without any references, I just draw it, and this is from my fantasy. I don't know which kind of flower it is. Maybe it's a peony, maybe it's a rose, something like that. But both DMC and Anchor embroidery threads, they have a huge variety of colors, so you can stitch any kind of flower and choose the right colors for any kind of flower you want. and see how realistic this petal looks like when you add more and more shades. Right now I'm filling all the rest space that I have here for this petal, so there shouldn't be any gaps. Okay, one more stitch and it's done. I hope you liked my video tutorial, and I hope you will try this method for your flower, and I hope you learned a lot of tips from me today, and I wish your flower will look the same stunning as my flower. And I wish that you will be satisfied with your results. You just need practice and patience, and if you tried and it didn't turn out well, you just switch to something more simple, have some practice in stitching, and go back to this project again and try another time. You can watch my videos over and over, and maybe it will also help you to make your technique better. And thank you so much for joining. Join my stitching along and stitch this beautiful floral frame with me. Here is how it looks right now. I'm very happy with the result that I'm getting. I'm very happy that I used this fabric color. This is a project I'm doing with my Patreons, and anyone else can join as well. You can buy a pattern on my Etsy shop, or you can join my Patreon and find this pattern there. All the links in the video description below. This is gonna be a wonderful present for your mom, for your sister, or someone you love. It also can be a nice wedding gift for your friends. You can choose only white colors if you want. You can embellish your embroidery with some metallic threads. You can go with silver threads, golden threads, any kind of beads like I did. Those kind of beads I was using. So join me for this stitching along, and let's stitch it together. See you tomorrow. I will be stitching this flower, and I will be completing this entire flower. I will be stitching this curved petal with you tomorrow. Bye guys!